This is Gerard from Lynden Sports Center. We're in the 210C runner here that we just finished up. We got a 200 Mercury on the back and then a 15 kicker as the beside it. They're tied together with the tie bar on the steering. So we'll do a little walkthrough here. We'll start in the back for the 200. To do your daily checks, your oil dipstick is right here. The oil fill is right in here to take the cowl off. You push the red button, flip the handle up, then the cowl comes off. And then just click it back down and close it up. For the kicker, there's a little latch on the back. Here's your engine oil dipstick. The fill's on the back. Maintenance schedules are on both of the motors. There's one on the kicker, there's another one on the 200. Maintenance is every 100 hours. We do oil, lower unit and the motor, and then the oil filter, and we like to do the fuel filter every 100 as well, and then 300 hours with water impeller and spark plugs. In the back here we have two batteries. We have the AGM for the 200 for the big motor with clean power, and then we use a deep cycle starting battery for the kicker. With the battery switch, if you select battery 2, you're on the deep cycle battery. So that way if you're out fishing all day trolling, you will not drain your starting battery and your big motor will always be able to start. So that's why there's a battery switch back there. You always want to have that on 2 so that you can never drain your main motor battery. So we have a steering wheel in the back with the rear helm. Here is your shifter for the kicker. Turnkey start, no push to choke because the EFIs are the 15s are EFIs fuel injected. You do have your safety lanyard. If it's in gear, it won't start. You have power trim, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Same in the front. With this remote here, that's the one for the main motor, obviously. Same, turnkey start, safety lanyard is all on the remote. When you do turn the main motor on, the trim tabs power up, the gauge powers up, and the fuel gauge powers up. The gauge, you have a bunch of modes you can go through. If you just push the mode button, it goes through. We have some of them turned on, some of them turned up. There's a lot more that this gauge can do, but we try to turn them down a little bit when we set them up for the first time. Trim tabs, if you want this side of the boat to go down, you push that button, and then you can see the opposite tab comes down. Same as the other way around. If you turn the key off, the trim tabs will reset back to home. They'll go back up to the top. Radio, just turn the volume button on to turn it on. Hit OK when it turns on, and now you're ready to talk. The mic is right here. We got the antenna mounted right outside the window, so you can get to it from the driver's seat. If you do come up to a bridge or anything low, you can easy access to get it back down. Over on this side we have all our switches. Right here we have nav lights. So up is the nav light, down is anchor. We have courtesy lights, which are the lights down here, and there's 2 in the back. And then we have the cap lights. Live well, there's a switch here, and there's a switch in the back also. Right here. Both of these live well switches need to be on for the live well to work. Right here you have the horn wipers. Up is just one wiper, down is both. Here's your bilge, and then these 2 switches were extra. We use them for, this one's the fan up here, and then the other one is the docking lights that we put up on the hardtop. Graphs, pretty straightforward. Push the home button, brings you home. You have all your individual screens, and then your split screens, which you can add, whatever you prefer. If you're just in your regular chart, This is the important part where it says outboard on the side. If you tap that, you get your steering. So if you just hit power steer, you can steer left and right. And then here you have your heading hold. You can set your courses or you can navigate between waypoints. A lot of this is pretty straightforward. There are a lot of features that are nice to know once you get familiar with the system. This button right here, if you're moving and you push this button, the boat will hold the course you're at. So up here will show compass, will show up, and that boat will hold that direction. And then here you can turn by degrees. So you can turn 10 degrees or 1 degrees to make a turn. Which right now we're getting an error because we don't have any speed. So, but yeah, that's the main thing on there. If you go to home screen, you have your chart, regular sonar, side scan, down scan, and the power steering. Video and instruments are not hooked up on this one. So we have this one over here, and then we have the same thing in the back, which is basically the exact same graph. They're both HDS 9s. And then here you also have your outboard, your steering. So as you might be able to hear the pump running, but you can see the motor turn without me touching the steering wheel. So that's the autopilot that's on here. Fuse panel is under the dash. It's a clear plastic cover over the fuse panel. There's 6 fuses in there that fuses all the electronics in the boat. So the fish finder, the radio, this port on this side, which is an extra charger, and then the NEMA 2000 backbone gets powered off of it, and power steer. So we'll go farther to the front. We have the trolling motor. Turn it on right here. You can push this with your feet or with that hand. You can deploy the trolling motor. If you push and hold the check mark, the remote will turn on. You hit OK. 5 main buttons here. This one's prop on and off, which you can see the prop spinning right there. So prop on, prop off, and then you have your speed. So 1.5 it's at right now. Goes all the way up to 10. And then this is your steering. So those are really the 5 main buttons. Just to know the basics and to use the basics out of the trolling motor. So to turn this back off, push and hold. There it goes. It's up. And then to deploy the trolling motor, you push this back in, pull it back, and latch it in. And then I always unplug the trolling motor just to make sure it can't drain the batteries. All of the batteries are in the front of the boat. There's 3 of them. There's 2 right there. And then there's one on this side. Right here is the cord for your onboard charger for the 36 volts. The charger is mounted behind the batteries there. So every time you come back, you want to charge those back up. Then the seats right here, you pull this out, you get the swivel. This lever right here is your front and back. And then on this side, which you can see here on this seat, is the dowel for the backrest. And then right here, this knob in the front is your weight setting. So for how much suspension you have. In here we have extra key floats, the keys to lock the glove box, all the doors, the hardtop door, these plugs are for the live well, and then this is the plug for the transom. That's all in the baggie right here. And then one more thing to turn these seats into a bed. The backrests just bolt up and off. And here you have these crossbars, which if you take those out, they can sit in between here, and then the two backrests will go in between to create a bed. Fire extinguishers mounted beside the seat on the ground. And then the downriggers are pretty straightforward. Just the switch right here for up and down. They do have the resettable breaker. We have the regular Canon connectors to, if you do want to remove them. One very important part is if you hook these up, you want these two arrows to line up, because the pins are off center. So make sure those arrows are lined up when you connect them. And then they are in the track, so you can go anywhere on the track to use them. So that's a pretty nice feature. Then one more thing back here, or a couple more things. This is your ice box in the floor. It does have a pump out, which is right here. That pump, and then the washdown pump. You flip the switch, turns the pump on. The pump will turn off when it's at pressure, which right now we're sucking up air because we're out of the water, obviously. So, yeah, I think that's about it. Live well. This is the drain where that big plug goes in. Your fill spout, and then the divider does come out for when you kitchen. The really good. So, and I think that's most of it, I guess. I hope that made sense, and if you have any questions, give us a call.